All right. So, now it's my time to shine. You guys ready?
Yep.
Big game, Greg.
See what you got, Greg.
Well, me, I've always been kind of a tech guy, right? A little background. I always started off adding a bunch of speakers to my home stereo system in my bedroom. I just like technology. I like video games, things of that nature. Hooking up car stereos, what have
That's
you.
awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cameras, you name it, I like it. So I was scrolling around on the internet. I go to this website, word.com, W-E-R-D, and basically they update it every Monday through Friday with the latest and greatest technology. And I stumbled upon something that looked really, really cool, in my opinion. It's a bicycle called the Trifecta DRT electric bike. And I remember a few years ago that electric bikes were just coming out, but they're always really, for lack of a better word, nerdy, right? Am I right,
Yeah.
guys? Like you wouldn't
Big,
ride one.
clunky.
They're heavy.
Don't go that fast.
They're
Last
pretty-
long.
They're pretty ugly. I mean, for the most part. I know that word is a subjective term, but
You guys should look
they're
this
not
one up.
attractive.
This one looks pretty cool, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Right. So, this particular bike, getting down to it, goes 55 miles an hour, which is absurd for an electric bicycle. Okay? That's like chart topping. It also, you can pedal it if you need to, and it's light enough to where if you wanted to, you could pedal it. Say your battery goes down after riding 60 miles. Say your battery goes down.
Insane.
No. As far as electric bikes go, I find this stuff very interesting. This particular one takes the cake, but you're gonna pay for it. If you guys were to guess how much it costs, what would you guess?
I'm gonna go maybe $1,000, maybe $2,000, something.
1,000, 2,000? What do you think, Dev Dog?
I mean, how much would you pay for an electric bike?
yeah, good call.
You know?
Good question. How much would you pay?
Like I might pay let's say I pay $500 for a good bike.
Right, decent bicycle.
Throw a battery
Mountain
on there,
road.
add an extra $500. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, like that's gonna go like 2,500 somewhere.
2,500. All right. Well, this particular bike, it goes for $25,000.
Ooh, add another zero.
Yeah.
That's more expensive than a high-end Ducati.
That's-
like
I-
twice as much.
You
Well,
can-
maybe $10,000 more than a Ducati motorcycle.
So what would stop you from buying a motorcycle instead of buying this bike?
Motorcycles, I feel like, are less nimble than a bicycle.
Yeah, true. I don't know. How fast do you think you can actually
Plus, it's electric, which is super cool. No
Oh,
noise,
you don't have to put gas. Yeah.
no gas.
That's
It's
right.
light.
That's true.
It's a mountain, but you can go off-roading on it. You can't do that on a Ducati, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't
can
want to go
try,
off roading on that.
I wouldn't put any
I mean,
alternate
like
tires
if you
on.
have like it's like sort of like an option of like like pedaling it by yourself, like manual force, and then electric, like where you can like it's on a motor, so you can like electrically go.
I mean, economically speaking, it is super convenient. It takes an hour to charge, up to 80%.
That's pretty fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, it goes 60 miles. That's a big range. If you're commuting around town,
Yeah.
it's awesome.
How fast?
Zero emissions.
How fast would you feel safe?
On that
Riding
thing,
that, yeah.
I wouldn't feel safe going 60 miles an hour.
I'd go
Well-
15 maybe.
Yeah, I've done that before, and it's fast. 15 miles an hour on a bicycle is fast.
Unless you're like going like on a trail that's like just a straight.
Yeah.
Like like.
You just gun it.
Yeah, I would gun it if it's like just going straight and it's flat land.
Yeah.
But if I'm taking like turns and all that, like I'm probably going manual.
Yeah.
I'm gonna like do it the old-fashioned way.
Do you think anyone's gonna buy that?
Listen, rich kids.
Let's say, all right, let's say you
kid-
had
Like if you had money to blow.
$25,000 just laying around. This is what you would invest in.
Yeah, they just came out an electric scooter too. No, not a scooter, electric skateboard. But it's legitimate as well, just like this one. Like it actually has decent range, like 20
Yeah.
miles. It's light. You can coast on it, kind of like you're surfing on the road, which is real cool.
Yeah,
cool.
but it,
That's
like,
$1,000.
But there's a difference between like a bike and a skateboard. A bike you would have more control on, while a skateboard you have to like still keep your balance if you're like
Yeah.
even if it's going like electronically, like you still have to like
Right.
it's still the matter of keeping your balance while you're
Well,
standing and
Regardless,
moving.
the whole electric or self-automated or propelled, what are these? It's extreme? No, they're not extreme, but what are they?
You know what that might be good for though?
What are they called?
Oh, those
Like ski. What if you had
that's
skis that
motocross?
could just go, right?
Like extreme sports?
Sure.
I don't know.
I don't even know. My vocabulary's not that.
I feel like that might be convenient for like, let's say you live in the city and you normally ride a bike to work, and you get to work and you're sweaty because you've been pedaling for
Exactly.
10 miles. So you get up to your office, you're like, oh, I might have to change. Like, I feel gross.
Or s- Yeah.
But you don't drive. You live in the city, so you take a bike. 'Cause you don't want to park.
Yeah.
So you gotta
get
just
an
a
electric
2 mile
bike.
ride
But what?
to work.
But
Yeah,
if
get
you
an electric
Just
bike.
just get in.
but
Get
if,
one of those.
If you're in the city, and you have $25,000 to just give away, to a bike, you probably own a car too.
You might,
True.
but you don't want to drive in the city.
Right. You don't. Sometimes you don't even want to give up your parking.
You don't
spot
want
in
to
the
drive
city.
because then to park, if you don't find parking, you have to pay for parking. Parking's
Yeah,
expensive.
that's expensive.
So I mean, if I don't know how
Yeah,
light
it
the
has to.
bike is, but if you can tie it up or bring it in, or I don't know what people
Yeah.
normally do with their bikes, but that might be a decent alternative. Like,
So
there might-
overall, we got a yay on the concept,
I'll
I'll
take
take
any
it.
concept.
I'll take a yay on the concept.
but a definite nay on the price.
Definitely not on the price.
$25,000.
I don't-
That's a Honda. What, a Prius?
Yeah, if that was maybe like no more than like $2,000.
2,000.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I might.
$25,000. That
You can
bike
get a
has to be
small
crafted by
dirt
God
bike.
Himself.
Yeah,
and
has to be
last,
has to be had a
last
gold.
me a lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. But you know what? Give it 4 or 5 years. I'm sure it'll be dirt cheap.
Yeah, true.
Just like all the other
but,
technology.
Yeah, just
But
like
then it
everything
won't
else.
last you as long as
Yeah.
what you're expecting.
Yeah, true.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, like
Like
if once it's become dirt cheap, they're not gonna make it like so it work like
We're using cheaper parts.
yeah, it'll
They
be
bring the
using
price
cheaper
down.
parts and
I got you.
yeah.
Well-
I'll still take the cheaper
Well, I'm
parts.
saying,
still-
or-
still
I'm saying
take it.
Lamborghini still
18.
makes top of the line vehicles,
True.
Yeah.
and they're still not cheap.
True.
You know, so
Also true.
we will see.
We'll
see.
we'll revisit this in 4 years.
So next up, folks, we got Dev Dog over here. He's gonna give us the latest and greatest movie review.
Yep. Well, if you're like me and you heard that Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart were going to be in a movie together, you probably got excited.
Oh yes.
And this is the movie they're in, Get Hard. And if I were to sum up this movie right now, I would say this movie is mediocre at best.
Mediocre.
Shame.
Yeah. This film is about James King, a wealthy hedge fund manager who's convicted of fraud and embezzlement. He proclaims his innocence, but no one will believe him. He's found guilty and sentenced to 10 years in San Quentin, a maximum security prison. He then meets Darnell Lewis, a family man who runs his own car wash business where he washes the cars for wealthy business executives where James works. Mistaken that he went to prison for the sole reason that he is African American, James hires Darnell to teach him how he survived in prison. Darnell is offended at first because he has never been in jail, nor has he ever gotten a parking ticket, but James offers him $30,000. Darnell needs this money for his family, so he agrees to help James. Throughout the rest of the film, Darnell acts as if he has been behind bars and teaches James the ropes as best as he knows how through movies and his cousins. They get into crazy scenarios and awkward situations. You would think casting Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart would make comedy gold, but this really is just a one-joke movie. It is filled with few laughs that are more, you can't say that, than genuine laughs. It's hard to sympathize with either character because they are only playing stereotypes that are more offensive than funny. The film's message about racism in today's culture and the wealth gap among citizens could have been a great undertone if it had been presented properly, but instead is substituted for its more jokes that either fall flat or feel forced or just plain stupid. I would recommend this movie maybe if you're 12 and still think racist and homophobic jokes are still funny, but if you're not, then I would say stay away.
Man, I was looking forward to watching that too.
You know what I find with a lot of these movies lately is that they're just so cheap that I feel like they just throw a bunch of crap together in a bucket and then they put it on the big screen and see what happens.
Well, I mean, you have Will Ferrell, one of the funniest actors in today's movie business, and you have Kevin Hart, one of the funniest comedians in the comedic and like comedy business today. And he's like Kevin Hart, like though he never has really made a great movie.
No,
he's the best part of those movies.
Yeah,
like
right.
those are like every scene he's in, you probably are laughing, but you're still like, this movie was terrible. But his like comedy specials are like really spot on
Those
and
are
really like really clever and genius and gut bustingly hilarious. And Will Ferrell, you see Anchorman, Talladega Nights, other guys, and Step Brothers. I love Step Brothers.
That's great.
That
And they're
was a classic.
Those are great. Those are great, funny movies. You put those two together, you would think like you would be like you couldn't pay attention to the rest of the movie because you'd be laughing the whole time. But you end up just finding yourself like, oh, like there's no, like I said, like they're more of, you can't say that joke's like, oh, what? That's
like
that's
you're just
ki-
cringing while you're watching
yeah,
instead
like
of laughing.
You're laughing, but you're like, oh, like it's more of like, oh,
Like
what-
shock value, right?
Yeah, shock
Lowest
value
common
laughs than like
denominator, just-
a good genuine laugh
Right.
where like it's actually funny. Like I go back to a part in Step Brothers, the scene. Pardon my French, but the scene in Boats and Hose, and like that scene is really funny because those two characters work like the way they act together, or just like throughout that whole music video is really funny.
That's
But these two together, just more or less like, oh, this is like for today's culture, you're like, oh, this is kind of offensive.
yeah. You know what though? I'm one of the few people who I like a few Will Ferrell movies, but I'm not a huge fan of Will Ferrell himself. I like Kevin Hart. I think his stand-up is funny. I don't think his movies are great, but
Those movies are trash, but
I could see where the movie might falter a little bit.
yeah, but like again, like if you see like Will Ferrell on like Saturday Night Live, like the cowbell sketch.
Well, that's
Like-
that's iconic.
Yeah,
but
and then
More
like
cowbell.
and more cowbell, and you just see him like progress through movies back in the early 2000s when he was actually like, I feel like
that was like at his peak.
I feel like Step Brothers was his last like
Good
really
movie.
good,
Yeah.
funny movie. I mean, of course, he made a few like here and
What was
there.
the cop movie?
Like the other guys.
The other guys.
yeah,
Other
that was
guys.
pretty funny too, though.
Yeah, but I mostly like Mark Wahlberg in that movie.
I
I
actually
think they made a good couple.
Other
Yeah.
Guys was
Good
like
pair.
good, was funny for the most part, but I think Step Brothers was like his last like
Yeah.
like genuinely great comedy. Like Other Guys, I laughed, but like here and there faltered, but like, and then like again, it's that you see these two really funny guys together in a movie,
Not being funny.
like just like not really being that funny, and like they're attacking as like a message where it could like again have an undertone today of how like the racism in
Well,
this
yeah, the
country.
whole premise is that he
Yeah.
assumes that Kevin
He's-
Hart's character has been in jail.
Yeah, just
when
for
he hasn't.
just for the sole reason of his race.
My
Exactly.
question to you: do you think that the movie industry is trying to make light of racism,
No,
or do you think they're making it worse, or painting a bad picture of it?
Well, I mean, if you're talking about like if they're making, like you see movies like Selma,
Yeah.
and 12 Years a Slave, and they're attacking the issue at full force. They are leaving no stone unturned, and both movies were very well made, very good,
Agreed.
and attack the idea of racism very well. And but like, then you have movies like Get Hard where it's just making like
Like subtle,
So-
stupid jokes.
like there's stupid jokes, but like it could have been like funny in the sense of like, I can't believe it's still happening today.
Yeah.
Like you can't believe that there are people still out there who like
Think like that.
think like that. But instead the movie just substitutes that like that message with like, oh,
Cringeworthy.
more
jokes.
cringeworthy, like
As a movie critic, would you prefer less movies like that and more movies like 12 Years a Slave?
Well, I mean, you're telling me I would prefer more dramas than comedies? No, I want more comedies, but I want comedies that haven't been like
Maybe-
haven't been poorly made and like last minute like, oh, we got Will Ferrell and Kevin Hart on a movie.
Yeah, see what we can write for them.
Let's see what we can write for them instead of like writing up a good comedy. Like,
Comedies are a dime a dozen nowadays, though.
well, I
Yeah,
mean, like
more or less.
the first original Hangover, very
Great.
very funny movie.
Second and
Sure.
third, no thank you.
Yes, very funny movie, and like the comedy was great throughout, and like
I don't blame them though. The movie industry is all about money. So
It
if
is
they
all
made
about
money the
money.
first time, it's like they just throw something out there. If people take it, they take it. Okay, good. So let's try and go for number 2 and number 3.
Yeah,
Figure
I
how
mean,
much more money they would make if they did a good job.
Yeah, and then you also have like movies like
Right?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
21 Jump Street, which is a very good.
The first
movie.
one was great.
Yeah,
I like the second one.
I like the second
I
one.
like the second one.
The second one I even liked more than the first one.
I liked it because
mainly because
we're
it
gonna
took,
say the same thing. That like it obviously makes fun of the fact that it's a sequel.
yes, and it's like
I
it
like
makes
that.
fun of the fact that the need for sequels nowadays. Like there's a part like in mid movie, like Ice Cube's character goes like, we need to stop, like you can't break any more stuff. You stop spending more money, as if like our budget has
Yeah.
been cut. Now we need to like keep calm and not
Go on the cheap.
go on the cheap.
Go on the cheap.
And then like at the ending credits, like making fun of like if the series continued on and like
Yeah.
selling out. It's like
22
the sell-
Jump Street,
sell-
23 Jump Street.
Yeah, it's making fun of the fact like The Hangover made a sequel, 3 movies where only the one was the good one, and then 21 Jump Street, very great, like a very good high school comedy, and then you have the sequel where it just makes fun of it, which is even funnier
Yeah.
than what you than 21 Jump Street, because you're like, this is ridiculous that they're making sequels out of like a movie that was good on its own.
Yep.
Gentlemen, I hate to break the news to you, but it is 5:38. It is now time for our third and final music break.
All right.
And then we will continue on with our daily debate. What do we have? What do we have for today?
Well, let's keep it a surprise.
Well, yeah, you're gonna have
Oh.
to tune in.
Yeah,
You're gonna have to
I
tune in.
like
with
that.
it.
That's kind of like what they do on TV.
Yeah.
Let's
With
let's
those TV
Keep them hanging.
let's just say that she's had some email problems.
All right, cue the music.